yeah, I think that's the biggest one is there's no harm in trying
Hmm.
anything ever.
Yeah, because you never know what you'll get out of it, probably. Today we have a special guest, one of my coworkers and friends, Kimberly. Say hi, Kimberly.
Hello.
Can you? I was in. I think the audio is lagging a little bit, but Kimberly has just come from. I think it was what? It was like a few 3 months ago. It's been like
I think so. So November, December, January, February, 4 months ago.
okay, 4 months ago. So 4 months ago, Kimberly took part in a powerlifting competition, and she did prep for probably around six. Was it four, four-ish, five-ish months? You prepped for?
I'd say it was okay. So May. It was about 6 months
Hmm.
before I decided that I was gonna do that particular meet, and I guess 2 of the months I was kind of flirting with it, and then
Hmm. Hmm.
4 months I decided, okay, I'm gonna get serious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a strength program and
Hmm.
actually commit to this powerlifting meet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So before we go any further, tell the people that who are going to listen to this, tell them, just maybe a little bit about yourself, and then, I mean, kind of, yeah, just something about yourself. You can introduce yourself,
So
do
my
whatever you
name,
want. Yeah.
yeah. My name, as you guys now know, Kimberly O'Neill. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I was introduced to resistance training about 10 years ago. I wouldn't say I got consistent until about 5 years ago. Um, Maybe what's something unique about myself?
Yeah. What's something that nobody knows about you?
Something nobody knows. Uh, uh, um,
It doesn't.
I feel like my favorite. Oh, okay, it won't be much, but okay, my favorite chocolate. Like I
Yes.
could eat this chocolate. I could eat packs of it and not stop. I don't think I'll ever get sick of it.
Okay.
Um, I I ate my last piece last night, but the it's called I can't pronounce it. Ferraro Rocher. It's like these little balls,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yep.
has like hazelnut in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then a hazelnut in the middle.
Yes. Yes.
Those are
Yes.
my favorite.
Okay. Nice.
If I think of some random other fact about me, I'll tell you.
Sweet.
But that's one that I like.
Yeah. Cool, sweet. Um so Kimberly here has you've done so you went kind of going into this powerlifting meet, and this is the very first time you went into this powerlifting meet, right? Like this is the
Yes.
first powerlifting meet or any sort of competition, or did you do any competition before
Yeah,
this?
I would say yeah, first competition I've ever willingly done besides, like competing in sports in high school.
Hmm.
This was my first thing ever.
Nice, nice. And so kind of give us like the background, or well, not maybe kind of more of like the beginning of like your emotions and your feelings going into the competition, and then we can talk about the actual competition, what happened.
Yeah. So even before I decided that I wanted to, I liked the idea of powerlifting, not necessarily the meet itself, but I had a couple friends who were doing it and they looked like they were having a lot of fun and they looked really cool doing it and they were getting really strong
Yeah.
and I would admire from afar, but it wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing myself
Hmm.
until I think like 6 months before I decided that I was going to compete, I joined a new gym, and that gym is a little bit of a powerlifting, bodybuilding gym. They just have more specialty equipment.
Hmm.
And the more that I would train there, I kept to myself, did what I was comfortable with, which was more of a bodybuilding style training. And then the owner, who has a background and experience in powerlifting, would ask me, so when are you going to do your first bodybuilding meet or bodybuilding show? Or when are you going to do your first powerlifting meet? And he would just ask me every time that I was in there. And that's kind of what planted the seed for me,
Mm, yeah.
where I thought like, I guess I guess I could. Like, I could do it. Anyone can do it. You just have to decide that that's what you want.
Yeah.
Um, and so he finally, like, he just kept asking and would tell me that there was a meet coming up that was perfect. Where I was at, I was far away enough from it that I could prep for it.
Hmm.
So, which was September. Um, and I decided, like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get ready for that one. And every time I would go online to register for the September meet here in Vancouver, I straight chickened out. Like, I would pull up the page, I would pull up the page
Uh-huh.
and like put in all my information, and then it would came down to the bottom to submit. I would close it, and I'd be like, not ready yet. I revisited it. I think the following 2 weeks,
Uh-huh.
and I think by the third one, where I felt okay for real. I'm just gonna do it right now because it's now or never. I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah,
pay
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And the Vancouver meet was full, so it
Yeah.
like all the participants have filled up the slots, and like they weren't accepting anymore.
Mm.
And I told Craig about it, and but so before I told Craig that that meet was totally full, I knew that if I didn't sign up for another meet right in that moment, I just wasn't going
You
to do it.
right, 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 right.
Because I already saw, like, I saw that I procrastinated it this long, and
Hmm.
the slots were full,
Hmm.
and that's how I ended up with competing in November
Right.
up in Kirkland.
Got it. Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
So just
yeah.
like
So
so
I
just a
feel
lot of emotion, just a lot of like I mean, it's your very first competition. You didn't know what to expect and you're like, "Oh shoot, I don't even know if I want to go through with this." And then so you just
exactly.
you just kept on just putting it off and putting it off kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and it's just like, "Oh shoot, well, it's full now. Now I got to go find another one."
Exactly. Exactly. So
Okay.
I suffered my consequences and realized like that was the only one in Vancouver in the time frame that I was looking at. So November was the next closest one because I
Yeah.
didn't being my first one, I don't think it was worth it for me to try to travel beyond the 2 hours, like flying out or a different
Hmm.
city, you know.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Okay. And so when you found the one in Kirkland, or right, was it Kirkland?
Hmm.
Yeah. So when you registered for the one in Kirkland, I mean, I know we talked at work. So I mean, I think, yeah, I said this earlier, but Kimberly and I are coworkers at the gym that we work at, Precision, and we always talk about we're always talking about like your bringing up your powerlifting meet and all that stuff, and like I mean, you were nervous a little bit, right? And it
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, I don't even know what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and it's so tell me a little bit like about the emotion, especially I mean, obviously, we could see some of the emotion that came from it in the very beginning before even registering. But like,
Hmm.
what about as it got closer to the meet?
Yeah. As it got closer to the meet, and you were checking in on me, like asking like how's it going, and I think every single time that you'd ask me, my I just had low energy, like I just wasn't excited. And it was
Hmm.
just nerves. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
totally new. It was totally uncomfortable, and anytime that I would practice like a squat or a bench or a deadlift, in the very beginning, I had extremely high expectations for myself. Or if I wasn't meeting them, it instantly just felt like I wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
So, and that just wasn't something I wanted to share.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and when I say not good enough, just not good enough compared to other athletes who
Hmm.
were lifting weights. And it, yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at other athletes, but lifting the weight itself, because I had never focused on a strength program, getting all the PRs was every time I would lift, I would technically get a PR, and that was really cool. That was
Yeah.
empowering.
Hmm.
That was exciting, and I would share some clips of that through like social media, Instagram.
Hmm.
Um, the training itself, I kept it as simple as possible. So going from bodybuilding style to strength, I would only do max 3 exercises every day.
Hmm.
or not every day, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays,
Okay.
or just 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I included minimal isolation work unless it was a fourth day of training, just because I wanted to work out. Because I do like going to the gym. I like the atmosphere. I like moving, doing something. Um, more going through with like a workout session
Yeah.
was hard because it was so uncomfortable. So anytime I would, whether it was at Precision or at the other gym, anytime I would bring out the the belt or knee sleeves,
Hmm.
I just felt out of my element,
Hmm.
and I kind of like I hated it,
Yeah.
but I liked that I was at least trying,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah. No,
know.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I think I even before I would wear those tools at the like strength gym, I would wear them at Precision in that back room, like where I was by myself, so I could just try to get comfortable
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and like see how it feels and kind of know what to do, because I just didn't want to look like a fool with
Sure.
other
Yeah.
people thinking that they would like look at me and be like, look at her, doesn't know how to wear a
No.
belt, doesn't know
No.
doesn't know how to
No.
put sleeves on.
No, I
you
mean
know?
definitely nobody would. I mean, there might be one person in the gym that might like make fun of you, but like nobody's thinking like that. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's funny how I don't know when we're kind of faced with like that pressure of like I mean this pressure you're like okay I gotta be prepared, I gotta be ready for this, it's coming, there
Yeah.
is a due date or there's a date that like I have to be ready by, like there's so much I don't know there's just so much pressure so it almost like brings I mean it almost creates like an atmosphere of like negativity in your mind,
Hmm.
which is like oh shoot, but then it's cool that you I mean you continue to go through that, and I
Right.
mean you battled that through the entire way even up to the competition, right? And it wasn't
Yeah.
it's not like the emotions or the
Mm.
fear or all that stuff, it's not like it just went away as soon as you got to the competition, right? Because it still
Right.
probably was still there
Yeah.
until the very
No.
end.
Yeah. Absolutely. And going, something that would help would, I wear headphones a lot. And that whole idea behind the headphones is I just like, I don't want to look at anyone. I don't want to think about anything else. Like, I just want to be in my own world. I want to
Hmm.
try and focus on what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Um, And little by little, the more that I would try those things at the studio and then wearing them at the gym, confidence was slowly rising,
Hmm.
which felt good. And I don't think I mentioned this, but in the beginning, going into the strength program, I was, I felt like I was after the perfect program. Like, okay, which program is going to make me the strongest? Like, it
Sure, of
has to
course,
be
of
this, it
course, of
has to
course.
be perfect. Like, all the numbers, percentage, like, it just has to work out. And then the more like videos that I watched, the more that I read about people who had more experience in powerlifting, it just seemed very common advice was not to overthink it
Hmm.
and just take it like day by day, week by week.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. Just
Yeah.
tried to be casual about it, cool, just go in, know what I had to do. Um, if I felt like I could push it further, I would try to stop my ego and just save that energy for the next week.
Hmm.
And then, same thing, I would never try to fail. I would just try to save it into the next week. And that kind of kept me looking forward to
Hmm.
the following week and the week after that, because I felt like I was never truly exhausting myself or pushing myself to failure on said day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're just gonna skip right to it. So when you got to the competition and when you finished the competition, what well, I mean, we'll just tell everybody. So you when you did the competition and you in your weight class, you won your
Oh,
weight class, right?
yeah. So
And
that was
so
pretty cool.
yeah.
That was cool
Yeah,
and
yeah,
unexpected.
yeah. And so how was that? Like how was the rush of emotions and just like, oh shoot, there was so much doubt and there was so much I don't know, almost like anxiety, like slight
Yeah.
anxiety. But
Yeah.
when you did it, I mean, you went through it even with the anxiety and the fear, and then I mean, you came out on top on your, in your division
Yeah.
or your weight class. How
Yeah.
did that like? How did that feel for you? Like,
It it was great because I wasn't. I mean, they came to the end and they said they were gonna announce and like give awards. And I
yeah.
remember just like sitting there and kind of waiting, like hearing it, everyone be announced, and then
Hmm.
my weight class was coming up, and I didn't expect anything because that wasn't what I was trying to do. I
Sure.
wasn't trying to be the best in my weight class. I think I even, yeah, I got to talk to you about it, and I
Hmm.
remember telling you like I think I'm gonna let go of expectations for myself, and I'm just gonna try to enjoy the experience as
Yeah.
much as possible. I'm gonna try and focus on like one exercise at a time. So making sure that I hit all the commands, like so long as I show up and I hit the commands and my lift counts, how much I actually lifted doesn't matter to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that mindset throughout the whole meet helped so much because it made it more fun.
Yeah.
I just took it again like one lift at a time, not trying to hit certain numbers unless I like did it and that felt really good. So why not add a
Hmm.
little
Yeah.
bit of weight? And yeah, that was really cool. I was shocked and
Yeah.
happy that letting go of expectations ended up with a greater outcome than what I could have hoped for, really.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy because like I mean, you did so you had a goal, and I think maybe at first was like you like I'm gonna find the perfect program, you know, figure out all these the all the little things, and everything's gonna be perfect so I can lift as
Yeah.
best as I can. I think as time went on, your um, I guess your mentality started to shift a little bit,
Mhm.
and you're like, okay, I'll just work on the little like the things that I can control, because
Mhm.
we can't necessarily I can't control, or you can't control the other people that are training and doing their own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
when I think when you shifted kind of that mindset from like, oh, I'm gonna do the best, like I'm gonna do the best program, and it's gonna be the best for me. I'm gonna lift the heaviest weight, into shifting to something that was more like, oh, let's have fun with it. Take one step at a time,
Mhm.
and I bet you didn't even expect to win that weight class.
Yeah. Not even a little. I
That's
was just
crazy.
yeah, I wasn't even looking at my numbers at the end or like totaling up other people's numbers. It was just I need to get a good lift.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I want to
That's
make
it.
all three lifts, and yeah. So did you lift 9 out of 9?
I left 8 out of 9. It
Eight and
was
nine.
on the second, so on bench. The first one felt really good.
Mm-hmm,
And so first it's squatting. All three squats, just looking at it, all three squats went really well. And
mm-hmm.
when I did my final attempt, I felt like I did it, and I felt like I definitely could have done more.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
I was just playing it really safe on that.
yeah,
So when bench came along, first one felt really good, and I think the second one also felt really good. So I told myself because squat went so good, like I should try a little bit more.
yeah.
And I did, and that one like I got it down here, and it didn't come off my chest. It like barely came off.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And at that point, I was like, "Damn it!" Like I, like I coulda. I know I coulda, but I think like I was thinking too much about the number.
Mm-hmm,
You
yeah,
know, I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
That's what I think. I think I was just thinking too much about the number, and then I didn't get it. Um, and then when deadlifts came along, so at that point, thought about. I was looking at my total,
Mm-hmm,
and I don't know a lot about powerlifting. I just know that when you're done, you get a total, and then
mm-hmm,
that total classify is like I think like class one, two, three, master and elite.
mm-hmm.
And my numbers were right about masters or elite. And so I thought like if like start the deadlift off safe, if that feels good, try to go a little bit higher and strive for that elite total.
Yeah,
Not it doesn't do anything. It's just me
right, right,
knowing like I got an elite total and it
right.
was a goal at that point.
Mm-hmm,
Um, And that worked out really well. Got the first attempt on deadlift. It
Hmm.
was great. It was easy. Second one was even better. And then the third one, there was like a slight struggle. And I know I still could have lifted more,
Uh-huh.
but that last lift is what got me the elite, which was neat.
So what was your total, and then what were your top lifts for each of the lifts?
Um, you might have to do the quick math because I
Oh, you're
can't
good. You're good.
remember the total right now.
Okay, forget the total.
Yeah.
What's what was your bench, squat, and then deadlift?
my my bench what ended with 165,
Nice.
165 pounds. My squat was 281 and a half pounds.
Hmm.
And then my deadlift was 368 and a half pounds.
368. And
Yeah.
what was your body weight at the time?
Body weight at the time was 143 pounds.
That's crazy.
It was
You
good.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
was great.
That's awesome. That's that's a lot. What is that? One 140, 360. That's like two and a half body weight, probably somewhere around there.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
140 times two, 280. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
like
actually that could be a good one or a good thing to include too. In the very beginning, I wasn't sure if I wanted to, because there's weight classes
mhm.
in powerlifting. I was in between two of them, in between the 132-pound weight class or the 148-pound weight class.
Oh.
And at the time, I wasn't trying to lose weight or gain weight. Um, but the idea initially of like gaining, I felt for some reason I felt like I had to intentionally gain weight for the 148 class when that's not necessarily
Mhm.
true. I did. I just lifted 8 at maintenance or a little bit more,
Yeah.
and my weight was 143, which put me in the 148 class. But initially I was scared of like, okay, if I gain weight, like what's my body gonna look like? And it's gonna be this
Sure.
drastic change. It's gonna be so huge. And it wasn't at all. I think I gained 5 pounds.
Hmm.
Five from my the beginning to the meet day, weighed in 5 pounds heavier,
That's
which
not
was
even bad. That's yeah.
exactly that also played into the fear, like all these different factors that didn't matter
Mhm.
for my first experience at a powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy because I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people like want to try and do. They want to try and do a competition, or a meet, or whatever sport they do, um, whether it's weightlifting or not, or weight training. But if you could tell somebody one thing, like if you could tell yourself one thing before going into like the competition, like if you had yourself next to you as like a coach, and they're going to tell you one thing that would kind of almost hopefully set your mind right, or something that maybe you didn't know and you
Mhm.
wish you would have known before you even started, like what would you be what would you want to tell that person, or what did you learn from it,
Um, I I think the biggest one is that, like, no matter, like, try, like, just to at least show up, at least try.
Yeah.
And at that, like, if you do well or don't do well, you're going to learn something from it, and then you can use that experience for the next time.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that's the biggest one, is there's no harm in trying
Hmm.
anything ever.
Yeah, because you never know what you'll get out of it, probably. So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's awesome. So Kimberly, if people want to find you, where can they find you? What are you know do you what are your social medias, or the main places you post?
Main place that I post is on Instagram. It's lift, LIFT, four, the number four, food. Um, yeah, on Instagram. That's the main place I post. Everything else is just kind of
kind of
Yeah, you
scattered.
said there's nothing.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for doing this little interview talk, and I hope people can kind of get something out of it, and that's my hope for all of these videos is just like, oh, somebody can learn something from it, and then use learn something from somebody else's experience and kind of like their thought process and stuff like that. I hope that everybody who listens can kind of get something and take away something, and I think that's super valuable, especially when you can tell stories that really, I guess, stories that have pushed you to, beyond where you've gone. I mean, in the beginning you were kind of scared and afraid, but it turned out and changed into something like, oh shoot, I won this competition that I never expected to win.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, if you guys like this stuff, make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and now Google Podcast. Search up Constant Pursuit. This is Kimberly O'Neill, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye. Sweet.
Bye.